Good evening, Rise Leaguers. We are back with week two.
Aloha, everyone. Glad to have you.
I mean, it has been a wonderful, blistering day in Mason County, West Virginia, and we thought it'd be appropriate for a little, little fancy drink, a little nice tea, our sunglasses.
Exactly. Come get naked with us here with some awesome Rise League footage. Come toast your buns alongside Colin and I and our special guest this week because we got a show for you.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I'm half naked already.
I mean, I'm clearly not wearing pants, but who does at the beach?
Who does when you're in a virtual world? I never wear pants.
No.
Ever.
When I'm down here. This on every show.
Winnie the Pooh. That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, we've got a few things in store. We're gonna, we've got a special guest with us tonight. We're gonna kind of leave that as a surprise for right now. But before we jump into this, is there anything new in your life, Derek?
No, I'm just vibing, my guy. Just vibing.
Free agency treating you okay?
So far I'm happy with it. I've had a few. I was talking to you earlier about this. It always amazes me some people's strategy in free agency. I am taken aback by some people's strategy, both positively and negatively, because there are some people who don't like spending money, and there's some people who like spending a lot of money that I just don't understand. But if it gets the job done and that's what they want to do, so be it. Who am I to say different? But so far, I'm happy with it. I think it's coming together, and tonight should be the first. After tonight, tomorrow will be the first locked-in group of free agents finding their new home, if they haven't been bid on since night one. So that'll be exciting.
You are correct. You are correct. But yeah, you're right. But everybody goes about it differently. But who are we to argue with the results?
You know? Absolutely. I mean, there are some people who are stuck with a strategy that took them pretty far into the playoffs. I'm looking at you, Boston.
Everybody knows who we're talking about.
Yeah.
If only we could get inside the head of skill, would we survive?
Oh, that's a lot of money. Gives me indigestion.
Well, we had some great games.
We
in
did.
Rise League.
Week 2 did not let down. I was kind of pumped to see what happened. A lot of close ones, a lot of thrillers, some head scratching moments, but definitely good games.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the first one. This is the Mighty Oaks taking on the Dragons at home. I think if I remember right, I had a feeling about the Oaks.
You did. This one, you did get me on. I was thinking the Dragons were going to come burn this down. But, the trees, they came alive and they dominated. They made little pets out of the Dragons here. They did well. The team just came out slinging. All in all, again, not a super big rush day for the Oaks, but they did enough through the air to get it done. Honestly, you would think that based on the stats, this was going to be a Dragons game, to be honest. I mean, they led in most categories, including turnovers. I'd probably say that's what did it.
Yeah, turnovers was the name of the game in this one. It did seem like their running game was stepped up a little bit this week, but definitely was their game to lose.
It absolutely was, and they lost it.
Yeah. It was a rough one. Player of the game for that game goes to Ryder Chisholm.
Yeah, Chisholm. Put up solid numbers. Again. But good percentage. Almost 200 yards passing. All in all, solid day. Did enough to get the win.
Yeah, and you know what? A win for the Oaks takes them to 1-1, and if you're Raleigh right now, you're starting fresh. You're feeling good. A lot of people are underestimating this team going into Rise, saying that they got a lot of the scraps in the draft, but I'm seeing a lot of Oaks that I think might be on some draft boards coming up.
Oh, absolutely. This team has heart. They got some good players.
Definitely. And talking about hearts, there was a game that left a lot on the field up until the last last drive.
I watched a good chunk of this game, had to step away, but did make it back for the last 5 minutes. And I know that the viewers at home, the chat was riled up about this one. because the ending is not what we thought it should have been. Head-scratching decisions not to call that timeout by Fargo, because they were in position for the last-minute win, and it just didn't happen. I mean, now, not taking anything away from Tucson, they came to play. This was the game. We thought this was going to be, they were both undefeated going into this week. I had this marked on there as my game of the week. I thought it was going to be high flying, which it was. Both offenses showed up. Both defenses showed up. 10 total turnovers? Holy moly. And riveting right till the end, only to have a coaching mistake kind of end that one.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. And I don't know. It's easy to pull the APF card, but that one, I mean, if you're going to pull the APF card, that's when you pull it, because, I mean, we were all hollering at the screens watching that game. We couldn't believe it. This game could have been a different outcome, but the Valqueros, did I say that right?
The Tucson Valqueros.
The Valqueros held on and got themselves another win. So now they are undefeated, 2-0.
They are. And I, in fact, picked that game. I picked this one for them to trample the Freeze. So right now, we're both 1-0 with our picks so far. Or we're both 1-1 with our picks so far. And player of the game, not a stat line you often see for player of the game. Surprised they went this direction with the running back only having 41 yards, 2 touchdowns, and tacked on an additional 25 receiving. But interesting.
Derek, how many times do I have to say it? Touchdowns are important.
I mean, maths agrees with you. So, yes, they are.
That is football. And now I do want to give a quick shout out to King Jackson for helping us with this next clip here. We're not going to jump into it quite yet, but for this last game, for the Boise Long Island game, we actually have a highlight tape set up that we are going to play through, and thanks to him for getting me the timestamps and really helping out with that. So big shout out to King's Clips is what I'm going to call it.
I like it. Before we get into it, do you want to chat about it? So you can do you want to chat about it real quick, but so you can kind of walk everyone through the highlight tape? But I just have to say a little something before you start it.
Okay.
If we're on to that game. Are we on to that game? Are we here to chat about it?
Go ahead.
Okay. For one, this is my public apology. I know someone called me out there in the Rise League general chat about some comments made on the last show versus studs versus duds, and maybe some of my comments on the play. Looking at you, King Jackson of King's Clips. You showed up. But again, I also replied to your comment that I picked you to win this game. And in fact, you won this game, making my picks for last week being 2-1 and Colin being 1-2. So you showed up, you showed out. You definitely increased the play. It's evident, which I think we'll see in these highlights. And like I said, feel free to call either one of us out, but I'll back up what I say in these shows. And definitely. You called me out, but I think I redeemed myself by picking you guys on the quote-unquote upset win this week.
Yeah, it was a good game. And Cam, I don't know if it's possible for you to maybe lay over some of that music from the startup over top of this as we go through it, but it doesn't matter if you can't. It's not a big deal. To rock and roll.
Get into it. Oh.
Now Boise came out with a little reverse play action, I call it, with a big run from King Washington. We've got 70 yards in the first quarter. First touchdown on the board goes to Boise. But then soon after the next drive, Long Island comes out with a deep pass, 40-plus yards to tight end Tanya Tantrum. She was 4 for 55. There were 2 interceptions between that play and this, where we've got a little dump pass down to the wide receiver, Rudy Barrett. He had 30 yards receiving that game with one receiving touchdown. Here's an interesting play. We have a ball bouncing back, hitting the player in the back.
Ooh, muff punt.
Muffed punt. Boise recovers at the 7-yard line. Can they poke it in and get another touchdown here? King Jackson probably feeling the pressure, probably feeling nervous playing at Long Island. Throws an interception. Touchback. That was Jesse Redmond. Long Island gets the ball on the 20. A deep pass to none other than our man Guy Clausen. Guy Clausen had 70 yards this game. And then next up, we've got ourselves a great off-tackle run by Rudy Barrett. Look at the speed there. If only he could break out last tackle. Barrett had 140 yards rushing. And then let's not forget about the receiving core for the Beavers. Big Beaver, Aaron Statler diving out for that pass. That was beautiful.
King Beaver.
But he's not done yet. They go to Statler again on the same drive, this time in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Aaron Statler, 137 yards.
Nothing Beavers like more than tutties.
They like being touched, that's for sure. This is a really great sack. I love big sacks on third and long. And that was Eric Cartier. He had 2.5 sacks, which swung the momentum. The Beavers, again, Rudy Barrett, great block. This time he has enough to put it in the end zone. Just barely missed the clip there. Beavers are up by 11. Now, all this action happens in the fourth quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter. Boise getting a big first down play there. That was to Yoya, Montana. No, it wasn't. That was Jayton Kiss.
Yeah.
Then we've got a no huddle play. Again, another first down. The Grizzlies are moving the ball. Now they are in the red zone. We've got 3 minutes and some change left on the clock. King Jackson is going to be looking for the end zone here, and this time he finds Yoya, Montana. That's where I was coming up with that. Yoya, Montana had 66 yards this game. Now here is a crucial onside punt for the Grizzlies. This is
I believe it's
make or break
kick,
time.
Yes, good recovery on the onside kick.
Yeah, whatever. I promise I know football. But that was big because the Grizzlies get the ball back. Here they're going to the tight end, Benji Vanderhuge. King Jackson ends up thrown for 270 yards this game.
Wow.
There's Vanderhuge once again. Boise they're not going to take a field goal here. They are looking to get a touchdown. They need a touchdown here. And here we've got Montana with the extra effort getting into the end zone there. That was huge for Yoya. Now the Beavers trying to do what they can here to make a comeback. They've got Statler on the deep ball, trying to get into some field goal range. A field goal's all that they need. Again, who else do you go to but Aaron Statler? You've got about 10 yards to go. Clock's ticking down, 20 seconds left. We're all at the edge of our seats in this game. Interception. Can't give credit to anybody because that's a generic player as Dimeback.
I mean, I believe he was the water boy prior to that play.
Yep. So, and this is just looping right now, but that was a great game, Derek. I mean, down to the wire.
I liked it. I mean, I think like you made the comment earlier about some Oaks being on some people's draft boards. I think there's going to be plenty of Beavers on the draft board, and even Grizzlies.
Yeah, you only have to pay to talk to them.
No, not at all. But no, this was a good game. This was back and forth. Again, I think this was a major turnaround for the Grizzlies after the showing in week 1. They came out and showed their team that's going to compete this season. They're ready to play. So great game all the way around for both teams.
Definitely. Cam, let me throw you a curveball here. Let's go ahead and bring up the interview next.
Oh, yeah. Because of how great these games were, I think there's no one else better to bring in than our interviewee.
Is he there? He's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's here.
Oh, there we go. With our interview, no one other than Rise Commissioner Zach Holdorf, the Corn Man, the Corn King himself, all the way out there in where we at, Colin? Where's HQ for the Rise League?
Oh, it is Joyce, Iowa.
Oh, nice, lovely town. So, welcome to the Humble Show, Zach. We're glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
How you doing today? You doing well? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. It hailed right before the show started here at home, so I'm glad I have power still.
We are too. But we'll start it off after we've kind of watched all these games and kind of seen how week 2. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling after 2 weeks of the Rise League as the commissioner? How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. A lot of close games. Week 1, we had a couple blowouts. Tucson's a surprise team, I think.
Okay.
That's my surprise. That's my dark horse.
That's fair. So. Oh yeah, I kind of hung in there for the draft a little bit when these teams were getting picked, and so I could see how that could be a surprise.
Yeah.
That the brains behind how all this got done when the coaches were drafting. I know you're pretty active in as you should be in the Rise chat. How are you feeling about this group of Rise players we got this season? I know Colin and I have talked about it a lot, so just kind of get your thoughts on it.
I think it's a great group.
It's a goopy group. It's a goopy group.
No, I mean, the influx of new talent, it's great for the league. Try to get us put on the map better,
Heck yeah.
That's
absolutely.
all
And this seems like a pretty active group, and that's, I think, I know it's caught Colin's attention quite a lot, and we commented on quite a bit. This group talks, which is good, which is what we want.
Yep.
So that when they come up, that they're blowing up Gen Chat and everything else that we need them to. We want active people.
Yep.
Has anyone stuck out to you so far? Anyone got on the commissioner's short list? Anyone kind of maybe playing teacher's pet, if you will, or just stuck out to you?
Is this restricted to Rise prospects only, or
no, not necessarily? It sounds like someone immediately came to mind, so we'd love to hear it.
Well, the sinking ship of the SS. No, I mean, nobody really has gotten on my nerves. I mean, I get a lot of questions every day. I got guys always messaging me about their bills and everything and whatnot, but nobody has annoyed me to the point where I just want to punch them in the face with a corn cob.
No, I mean, I would agree. Nobody has been annoying. Everybody's been great. Everybody's been super involved. And I mean, I can't thank King Jackson enough for the help that he's done. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I don't know if it's just me, maybe watching the Rise League games more, but I feel like the competition level is a lot higher this season. What do you think about that?
I would have to agree. It's the builds are questionable to a point on some of them, but overall it's pretty good competition this year compared to last year.
Would you take this stage with that statement about builds as a opportunity to maybe suggest a few ways to improve that in the future?
Yes.
I would think that it's important. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'll put something in there, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But I would say that it is super important that when next season rolls around, when it comes to time for builds, that if you're unsure, especially if you go this season without getting drafted, it is very important that you reach out to owners and ask for advice.
I would have to agree.
So if you're listening and for any reason you do not get picked up this draft, don't be discouraged. You just didn't have the right build. Okay.
I mean, even if you're a user player and you don't get drafted, reach out to the owners they can help you.
Yeah.
Go in the right direction.
And I mean, and don't get me wrong, though. I'm thinking, though, and this is just me being only obviously 2 days into free agency, but typically day 1 and 2 is pretty active. And I've seen a lot of teams more quiet on this. So I'm wondering if they're reserving some stuff for maybe the draft. I can't speak to that, and I don't know that for sure. But I haven't seen it as busy as maybe the start of some free agencies I've been a part of, either as a GM or an owner. So I'm wondering if some people are impressing and they're holding back on filling some spots till the draft. But I agree with both what these guys said.
Yeah, I can see that happening. It's a great group of guys. So
yeah, it's fact. And I think really one question, and I know this question's more, we know the answer, Colin and I, and even the guys who have been here for a long time. But I think it's good for the new people who are tuning in and who will watch this. Zach, what is your favorite drink or your go-to drink to watch, to sit back and enjoy while watching these Rise League games? I feel like it's become a staple or a moniker of you, so I feel like it needs to be shared with the world again.
Yep. Normally it's my Crown Apple with Mountain Dew.
There you go.
Yep.
Love it. Love it.
Would you like to hear what I've been really turned on to recently?
Besides everything else, yes.
I find it rather appetizing to just sip on my bottle of bitters.
Oh God!
I find it to be. I find
Have
it
you
to
looked at
be
the
very.
alcohol percentage in bitters?
How much alcohol is in bitters?
It's actually quite a bit.
Really?
Oh, that would make sense.
Like that's why you're supposed to do like dashes.
And I don't have to brush my teeth anymore either because I smell so floral.
No, absolutely not. Well, those are kind of my questions, Colin. Do you have anything while we have Zach on the line still that you'd like to add in there?
No questions. No questions. Just praise for Zach and all the hard work that he's put in.
Killing it this season.
So I love it, and I'm thankful for you. Thankful for all the hard work, and really excited about the direction that we're heading. So
glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Am glad to lead this Rise League. So onwards and upwards.
Heck yeah!
Thank you, Zach.
The best is yet to come.
Okay.
I know that's the right thing to say there.
Well, let's talk real quick about our studs versus duds.
I mean, I think this is a fan favorite segment, and it's becoming one of my favorite. So let's have this conversation.
Okay. Well, I don't want to talk
We're
too
starting
bad
on a low
about.
point here, bro.
I don't want to talk too bad about our producer.
We might
Cam Curtis.
We might end the show real quick.
This may only be a 2-week stint, 2-week thing. But man, no touches, and that's not his fault. That's not his fault.
We got to talk to the coaching staff there in Boise.
But
I think they got quality that they're not utilizing.
He caught 1 of 3 for 3 yards. Dud.
Dud. Now, if we were taking his producing stats, stud all day long.
Oh,
Fullback,
yeah.
dud.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But who's to say, with the right playbook, this couldn't be a key player. But
Absolutely.
The stats, unfortunately, for fullbacks are difficult to come by. So
You're right. You're right.
Dud. Next up.
Stud. It's just factual.
Yeah, Stewart was
5 tackles.
up there.
And anytime you can bring a pick 6 in, Stewart's a stud.
Yeah, that
like
pick 6 was sexy. Yeah, definitely a stud in my book.
Very, very good.
Mighty Oak, Ormi Armas.
Stud
9
again.
tackles.
9 tackles, 1 assist, and a pass deflection. No interceptions. But apparently last week I was being accused of being too harsh and not nice because clearly, I was just being a jerk. So you know what? He looks like stud material here. 9 tackles, a pass assist, or and an assist, a tackle, and a pass deflection. Solid play. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Armas is showing stud material as well. So that's a thumbs up from me. Next up is, let me see, who do we got?
We
Moeller?
got Wolfgang.
Wolfgang.
Moeller. I mean, it's going to be stud. 3 catches, almost 77 yards. Longest was a 33-yard bomb and 24 yards a catch. It's got to be stud.
Yep. I agree. They had a great game. They beat Fargo, and he was a big part of that. So stud. Mr. Statler, big stud.
I know where you're going. This man is a
big stud.
He's head beaver. This was a stud.
That's King Beaver right there.
King Beaver right there. I mean, 8 of 10, 137 and a touchdown. Solid game.
Yep. I like Aaron Statler. Stud. Thunder Bay quarterback Vaughn Jones, 56% for the week, which, I mean, I can't hold that against him. None of the quarterbacks are having high percentages right now. Almost had 300 yards passing, though.
That's true. But if you look back at the Dragons' rush, it was almost non-existent. So you're going to have a lot of passing when you're not running.
That's a good point.
I'm going to be controversial here, and I'm not giving him the stud. I'm not saying he's a dud, but I'm going average. I mean, you had more interceptions than touchdowns. Allowed was sacked twice. 56, over 50% of his passes completed. I'm just not. I personally can't put the stud rating on Vaughn Jones right there.
I think I'm in agreement. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a good point. They only had 18 yards rushing as a team.
Yeah.
So you expect that to be made up from the throwing end of things. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. That ratio is not there enough for me. And the pass percentage isn't there. So unfortunately, right now, until Thunder Bay starts getting some wins under their belt,
Can't do it.
Vaughn Jones is going to have to step up. But right now, he's proven to be a dud, not a stud. Okay.
I like it. I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, let's go ahead and look into next week's matchups.
You got it.
Well,
so right now we're going into this pick session. I'm up 2-1 as far as seeing we didn't make picks going into week 1. We just did it going into week 2, currently sitting 2-1 versus 1-2. So please go first. It's all yours.
Thunder Bay does get the advantage of being home, but they are struggling on offense. And I can't vote for somebody who doesn't have a win yet. So I'm going to go with Fargo.
And as much as I like being controversial and not picking the same as you, this is Fargo's game. It's Fargo's game to lose. They're offensively, they have performed in both weeks so far. I don't think Thunder Bay is slowing them down at all. So I'm going Fargo as well.
Okay. So on the same page then. You're just going to get ahead of me in the pick'ems and then pick the same as me every time.
Stick with you guys.
That's your strategy. Yeah. Okay, the Mighty Oaks are on a heater, but so is Boise.
Yeah.
Both teams have some momentum going into week 3.
They do.
Gosh, this is
you spoke highly of both of these teams throughout this episode, and both, started slow, picked it up in week 2. So, Colin, what are you thinking here, man?
I need to refresh my mind on some stats here. Josh Copeland is having a tough time getting the ball rolling for the Oaks right now. That's going to be a hindrance. Ryder Chisholm is having to make up for that with some throws, but he has 5 interceptions so far. Compare that to King Jackson's 5 interceptions. Oh, this is going to be a good game.
Is it?
Grizzlies. Give me Grizzlies.
Oh, see. You know what? As much as I want to pick the Grizzlies, I know you're just going to accuse me of following you.
You're damn right I am.
So I'm going to go Oaks. I'm not as confident as I have been in previous weeks. But, they showed some fight. They showed heart. The defense stepped up this past week for Raleigh. So we're going to go Oaks.
I don't think it's far-fetched.
It can happen. It definitely can.
Yep. And then the last game of the week will be the Valkyries. Did I say that right?
Valkyros.
Why do I have such a hard time with that?
Just stick with Tucson.
I'm just going to call them Tucson. Okay. Tucson getting dirty with the Beavers at home.
Yeah.
I just love the Beavers, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a Statler fan, led by King Beaver himself. But this is Tucson all day. I'm going with them. I'm sticking with the undefeated. I think they have another one in it. This defense has showed up. This team has really, like Zach said, it's his surprise team, but I think it was well put together. They have the pieces that are working. There's some solid players on Tucson. So we're going Tucson. So only copied each other once, and then we're going to see how this goes.
Okay. That's not bad.
Going into next week.
You're winning by 1 as of last week, right?
2-1 versus 1-2. Easily within scoring range you are. Like, you can definitely make that up.
Okay. Well, we don't have anything really else planned for this evening.
We haven't talked about players of the week. I'm surprised you haven't brought that up.
Oh, that's because I skipped right over it.
Yeah, I know you did. So as we go back, we're heading back to just talk about and highlight some of our Rise players of the week.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Sorry about that.
Hey, not a problem.
I do have some players of the week.
Derek always gives his flowers to those who need them. Colin might forget you, but this co-host won't forget you.
That really bothered you, didn't it? That really bothered you. You're trying really hard right now to make friends with everybody.
I mean, I need some people to play for me, I know you're out of the game, but some of us are still grinding, okay?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I can say whatever I want.
If you want to come to Santa Fe, I'll be looking out for the draft.
Now, I did do some research, even though I skipped this segment on accident. I did some research, and I've got myself an offensive and a defensive player of the week. Did you have anybody in mind, or would you like me to talk a little bit?
I do have it.
Go ahead.
I can start. And this comment, you start with the offensive because I have a comment to say, and it would make sense if I go first.
Okay.
So you go ahead with your offense. I'll lead with defense.
Okay. I'm going to give this to somebody who really stepped up in week 2 and had a great game. And this is going to go to a quarterback who had 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. And that is King Jackson for Boise.
I like it. And I take your king and I raise you a king. See what I did here? I'm actually going with his counterpart, King Washington, the halfback of the Grizzlies.
Really?
100 rushing yards, got the 100 mark, touchdown, tack on another 5 catches for 25 receiving yards. Solid game. Actually was player of the game for the game. I like what they did. King and King just kind of ruled over that game.
Okay. Very good.
And for my defensive player, it's got to be, and I think this is someone you shouted out last week, but he showed up again. Edward Diggs showed up this game. 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 interceptions, which I'm told is really good. Stud-worthy, if you will. So I'm going to shout this man out, Edward Diggs, for 11 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 tackle for loss.
I looked at Edward Diggs again, and I thought, man, I can't pick him again.
Well, I'll do it for you because that was good.
I thought I can't show favorites like that. But I'm going to tell you, there's another defender for Tucson who played just as well, didn't get as many tackles, but had his hands on those balls all night long, Derek.
Ooh.
He had 2 interceptions as well, and he had 3 pass deflections. So that tells me whoever he was guarding didn't get much action.
No, not at all. But when you're blocking balls like that, when you got your hands on another man's balls as much as he did, you're not really going to get much action.
No, and you get rewarded for it big time here in the Rise Football League recap. And that is CJ Jones, corner for Tucson.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing about it is this is 2 guys in the same secondary. And if they're showing up like that, that's a combo. And I'm really betting these guys are moving up people's draft boards if you're looking for secondary help.
Yep, definitely. Well, this was a quick and dirty episode. Did you have anything else to say?
Like it. No,
yeah, I like
it
quick and dirty.
Look, really nothing else. What I will say is we have a few more weeks of the Rise League. We're going through free agency right now. And I think I'll throw this out, and please follow up with this. I'm putting on my owner's cap here. And I think Zach kind of mentioned it earlier. But be reaching out to owners, not only for advice on builds and stuff, but having those contacts stay in the forefront of their mind, because right now everyone's kind of focused in on free agency. Maybe draft process is secondary for some guys. Make yourself known. Reach out to guys, being like, hey, if you're interested in seeing, in me coming to your team, let it be known. The rosters are up for you to see what teams are needing what. Like, rosters are accessible to everyone. Look at a team's roster, see where they're lacking, sell yourself. Like, I need to know who you are. Getting yourself put in someone's locker room, we do our best as owners to try and take notice of everyone, but there's a lot going on this time of year. Make yourself seen.
Yep. I would add to that by saying that even if you see that a team is full with the position that you've made, if you contact an owner soon enough, I know that if somebody would come to me with several weeks still until the draft and said, hey, I really want to play for your team, I've got this build, I get the primary user advantage that comes along with it, then I may work to get rid of that spot that I have and free up some room. There's still time for trades. There's still plenty of opportunity for users out there. So.
Seeing some of these owners just like throwing money around at this point in time, some cut penalties aren't even that bad if you just like burning money to make room for people.
Right. So, I mean, if you don't mind throwing $2.5 million on a bronze quarterback, then you really don't care to cut somebody to pick up somebody else.
Yeah,
so
because right now it's almost nothing to cut certain positions pre the start. So free it up. I mean, I think it's beneficial to have players over non-user players, especially this season. So definitely reach out. Be making yourself known.
Yeah. And if you like this show that we're doing, give us a like here for the stream and let us know things that you would like to see done. If you have any desire to help out, that would be wonderful. We're doing what we can with the time that we have. Life is busy for all of us right now.
Absolutely.
But the more hands that we have on deck, the more stuff that we can get done on here, and the better we can make the show.
Decks. Yeah, you get a lot of things done.
That is the truth. That wise words from Derek Jinko. The more hands on decks, the happier we are.
Exactly.
So that wraps up another week here of the Rise Football Recap. We will be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. This has been Colin and Derek.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.
See you next